Now, we have two very important speakers left. Brent's gonna give us some insight into why you might wanna be a ride leader and where to find forms for ride leaders. Now, I have also printed out some of those forms, and they're on the back table there. So they are available, and there's ride leader guidelines back there. If you're thinking about you wanna be a ride leader, feel free to take some. And he's gonna tell you how to get them off the computer too. And then we also have Jeff Schaefer is gonna tell us how to find rides on the GPS. And at any time, feel free to get some refreshments. And also, in the back table, there is a sign-up sheet for who wants to bring snack to the meetings.
Yeah. And we have survey results.
Oh, and survey results, he's gonna tell us that interesting survey he sent out a while ago. He's gonna tell you what the results are. So very good. Thank you, Brent.
So I was asked to do the reasons to be a ride leader. I was going to do the top 10, but could only come up with 7. Number 7, you can ride the ride that you've been wishing that somebody would.
There you go.
There you go. That's enough for me.
Number 6, you get to decide when you're going to do your ride. Number 5, you get to ride where you want to ride. Number 4, you get to decide how far we get to ride today. Number 3, you get to decide how fast. You can be that turtle or you can be that rabbit. Number 2, you get to decide the terrain where we're going to ride. Probably not the forest there, but maybe. And number 1, the appreciation of your fellow club members for leading a great ride. And a bonus reason, a healthy cycling club that offers many diverse rides will give fellow members an option to participate. We should strive to get as many members back on the bike in 2025. So how do I become a ride leader? First, you need to decide on what ride to lead. You'll need to know when you want to lead, where you're going to lead from, what route you want to take, how many miles am I going to do, what star rating am I going to ride, and anything special about your ride. If you're already considering doing a ride, you probably know most of these already. And once you've decided that, you need to send an email at least 48 hours before your ride to get it on the calendar. I got an example of the email that I send here to Tom for a ride March 8th. So you send it to that email address and include when you're going to do the ride, the date and time, what star rating you're going to do, and you can include plus or minus if you're going to do a 2 plus or a 3 minus, or maybe you're just doing a 2. Where are you going to start from? That could be Oberlin, Burr Oak, where are you going to head out from so everybody knows where to meet you at? And then where will you be riding? What trail or what back roads, or where are you going to, what route are you going to do? And how many miles are you going to do so people know what to expect when they show up? And then I always include a description of my ride and any other information that you think might be necessary. In this one I said it's going to be canceled if it's raining or snowing. It could be cold. To make sure you dress in layers, and I think it was 34 that morning. It was a cold ride. So that's what you do before the ride. A few days before, because Tom needs to get it on the calendar, and the requirement is it has to be on the calendar 48 hours before we do the ride. But then the day of the ride, before the ride, arrive about 30 minutes before the ride, have the rider sign up on the form before the ride. These are available on the Ride Leader tab of the website. And once you have this filled out, we need to keep it for 3 years for insurance purposes. So just file it away so that you have it in case we would ever need that. So during the ride, Try to keep the group together. Sometimes this can be like herding cats, but try to keep the group together. If you have somebody who is lagging back, assign somebody with them so that you make sure that they have somebody with them rather than getting lost. Call out any hazard you see, for example, bumps, or car back, car up. Call out instructions, slowing, stopping, things like that. And help a rider who needs help. It could be a slower rider, or maybe equipment issue. And make sure that everybody arrives at the end of the ride. There's nothing worse than getting to the end of the ride and finding out you lost somebody. If you do lose somebody, go back and look for them. And then after the ride, you need to send an email. So this is the address. We send it to Karen. And in that, there's a specific format. The format's very important.
And that is on the back table too.
Yep, there's papers on the back that has the format. I always keep a copy of my email that I send to Karen, and I just pull that up and change the information and send it to her again with the new information. I don't have to remember, well, which goes first, what goes next. So include in there when you did it, what date it was. You don't need to include the time. What the start location was, what the star rating was, how many miles you ended up doing, and then a list of the riders who participated in that ride.
The ride leader is first.
Yep, I'm sorry about, yes, thank you. The ride leader goes first, and then everybody else, and that you get that right off the form. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Karen. Instead of saying Oberlin, because there are 3 start locations in Oberlin that different ride leaders use, if you're going out of AutoZone, or you're going out of Splash Zone, or you're going out of the recreation soccer fields, or the library, that you say AutoZone, or Splash Zone, or those, the rec center.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question on date. Format for date, is it?
You don't have to give me the year because the ride calendar or ride chart is for this year. Slash, not dash, so 3/12. If the year gets in there, it gets in there. It's hard to break that habit of putting out a full. When there's a dash, it means it's from the 3rd to the 12th, and this was a trip or something. So if you use, it's hard to remember, slash, not dash.
Okay.
Thank you.
So after you've sent that email, congratulations, you fulfilled your duties as a ride leader. Exactly.
And go home.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you get all those nice pictures there, those, of the bikers and such?
Those are all AI generated.
Oh, really?
That one was Franklin the Turtle. I have that book with his bike helmet.
So yeah, those were all AI generated.
Question.
Yep.
Not a question, it's a comment. When you're sending in a ride, if it's a different location than a typical one, people want to know, is there any problem with parking? If there is, let them know. If there's a problem with the toilet, let them know. If there's none there, they want to know that, especially the guys that are coming from a long ways away. These are things that they want to know. If you plan on or would like to have people eat afterwards, the opportunity to do this, let them know. Any other obvious things that somebody who wasn't familiar with the area might not know about, I'll post it that way.
Okay. So where can I find more information about being a ride leader? Well, that is on our webpage. If you log in to the silverwheelcycling.org webpage, then click on the ride leader. It will pop down a menu, and from there, it will give you the guide, ride leader guidelines. You can pull those up. It has all the information about being a ride leader in there. You can pull up the ride registration waiver form, which is the form that everybody should be signing into their rides, and print those out to take with you. The ride mileage report format is in here. If you need to get that to know what format to send it to Karen. There's also some information about Wednesday night Star Chase in here, ride posting procedures, and safe cycling practices, which would be good to review as a ride leader. So you now all know how to be a ride leader. Hopefully we see new ride leaders out here this year. Yes?
Just a comment, that if you have any visitors, they have to sign the paper because they haven't signed a waiver. And
Yes.
they can be a visitor once and then they have to join the club after that.
You'd be covered with insurance, right?
Correct, correct. If you have a visitor that shows up that has already ridden a ride with us, according to our rules, they're allowed to ride with us. They are not covered by insurance. They are also not the responsibility of the ride leader. They can ride with you, but you're not responsible for them. And that's in our ride leader guidelines. Yes?
Is there a way for people to register for a ride on the Silver Wheels website instead of signing a paper at the beginning of a ride?
No, there is not.
Just show up.
No.
Show and sign in.
Yep. Show up and ride the ride. So as ride leaders, we don't know how many are coming, which is another thing I didn't mention. So I do rides. I rode 34 degrees the other day. Nobody showed up.
Gee, I wonder why.
I don't know why. but it met my guidelines that I sent out earlier in March. So I put on the ride. Nobody showed up. I still rode the ride.
And you still submitted your miles.
I still submitted my miles. I still got credit for it. But I could have just as easily decided, nobody showed up, I'm not doing the ride. You as a ride leader can make that choice when you do that. Also, if I show up for a ride and nobody shows up, the most amazing thing happens. Sometimes we take a vote. We end up doing extra miles. We end up doing less miles because it's always a unanimous decision. And I've never had anybody complain on one of those. Yes.
Cancellation policies?
Cancellation. If you need to cancel a ride, for example, I canceled the ride for this morning, send Tom a message. If you're canceling it last minute, send a note out using Gaggle so that if anybody does show up, they'll see it. Yep, go ahead, Tom.
Ride leader has the right to cancel a ride at any time. Obviously, most people don't like to cancel rides. They can do this as a ride time decision. You can do it, you get there, and it's terrible, and say, I don't want to leave this ride. They can do that. You know, it's nothing that makes that ride leader have to leave, other than the fact that if they do it very often, nobody's going to show up.
Reputation.
Well, it's a practical matter. You know, you may get there and you may be driving some distance to get there, and the weather's fine when you leave, but when you get there, it's terrible. And you decide this is, or thundering and lightning more like it. And this is not a safe environment. I don't want to lead the ride. And this can be communicated to people. Say you can put out, you have a ride on the calendar. You can put out a message that says the weather looks really odd. I'm going to wait till I get to the location before I make a decision, and tell people this. Probably the guys that drive a long ways won't come. The guys that are local, they might show up. You can tell people what you're thinking and doing.
So I'm going to pick on Rick back here because I know he comes a little bit farther away. But if I had a ride out of Wakeman and Rick showed up, and for whatever reason I decided not to do that ride. In fact, Rick, are you the one that showed up? Yep. So Rick showed up for my first ride this year, and I got on the bike and started pedaling, and the pedals went around, and the back wheel went nowhere, and I thought, oh, I threw a chain, and got off the bike, nope, the chain's on it. I had a problem in the rear hub. Could not get it to engage, so I was not going anywhere on that bike. I'm not going to be able to lead that ride, but I as a ride leader can say, hey Rick, you want to lead this ride, go ahead. And Rick now becomes the ride leader for that. He is responsible for submitting his mileage and the mileage of anybody who rides the ride. But you can switch ride leaders at the ride site if for some reason you're not able to lead the ride, if there's somebody willing to do the ride. So. Sorry, you had your hand up first. So.
If you have a big group, you might want to split it into two, because if you have, say, 18 or 20 people, it's not safe to bike in that big a group, so you might wanna break it into 2 groups of 9 or whatever seems reasonable, 3 groups of 6 or whatever works out for you.
Yeah, for example, my Ohio to Erie trail that we're doing, I got 21 people signed up now. Definitely not going to be riding that as one group. We'll probably be splitting that into 3 different groups and riding as 3 different groups. Or we'll have a big, long group riding all at once. Yeah, back there.
Tell me about the insurance aspect.
Um,
Is that just basic insurance for the club, or is it individual, what is?
correct me if I misspeak, Steve,
Okay.
because so it is liability and health coverage. It is secondary coverage, and it covers you while you're on a club ride. So, if you were injured while you were on a club ride, it is secondary health insurance that would pick up after your insurance, your primary insurance. And the liability insurance covers you while you're on the ride. It does not include while you're traveling to or from a ride.
Yeah, so if you get in a crash on a club ride and you get injured, your insurance would cover whatever your insurance does, but you have the option, you can make a claim against our insurance to cover the things your insurance didn't pay for, your deductibles and things like that. And so you would contact the president and get that process started, and there's a bunch of forms, and then the president has to sign off, and then you would deal with the secondary insurance company and submit claims to them and receipts, and then they will
Didn't somebody fall down a ravine like last year?
We've had people fall all over the place.
Yeah, all the time. Oh dear.
Yeah, the deal is secondary.
Unless they change the insurance,
They
that insurance covers all club events, not just
It's gotta be a
rides.
club ride, it's gotta be a club.
So if you get hurt
not
here,
Just a club ride.
That insurance still covers.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, so it's all club events, not just rides.
But what it does not cover is any motor vehicle at a club event. So for example, the Ohio to Erie trail ride, when we're driving down, even though that's a club event, it does not cover the time you're in a moving vehicle.
Yeah, I think you would have to get a rider.
Yes, there is a rider, and it also would not cover during dog days for any SAG drivers.
So, if you have a large group, I agree we should platoon, but also have a sweep, so that if something happens, sometimes it's hard for the ride leader to know there was a mechanical or flat or something. It helps to have somebody bringing up the rear. Also, does everybody know about gaggle? Does everybody know, so you have to sign up for gaggle in order to get those announcements?
I don't know that everybody does know. The club has a Gaggle account, which basically is an email service. You sign up for it, and then anytime anybody emails to that, it goes to everybody who's signed up for it.
Right away.
Right away. So if I'm canceling a ride and I send it to that, if you've signed up for Gaggle, you will get it in your email letting you know that, hey, that something is going on. We try to use that for things that are last minute or people need to know right away. When I sent out my email earlier this month about, hey, I'm going to be leading rides, people aren't watching their calendars in March, anybody wants to know, here's a different Gaggle to sign up, because I was sending out messages, because I didn't want to send a message to everybody saying, hey, I'm leading a ride this Wednesday. So I had people sign up for a separate one for that, which I'm only doing for March, so you'll have to start looking at the calendar in April. But the one for the club is going to everybody who signed up for it in the club. So when you're posting to that, you're posting to probably 100 people. I don't know how many people are currently on our Gaggle.
Are you talking about the news group that we get emails from?
No, this is a separate email.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, maybe somebody could put out a newsletter about if you didn't have Gaggle, then this is how you sign up.
Okay.
I don't know how to sign up.
Well, I could send out, we'll send out a mass email to everybody in the club and include that at the beginning of the year, so, or now, so that everybody has the information, and they can go ahead and do that, we'll get that out. All right, any other questions?
People that are going on a ride, like say, if I wanted to be a ride leader, I was leading a ride and I only wanted, I wanted to limit the ride to 10 people, any way to do that?
Not really, I
Well,
mean.
what you can do is assign somebody else in the group that shows up to be a second ride leader and take part of the group, you could do that.
Something like you were doing.
That has been done in situations where there were limited number of spots available. Camping trips come to mind. Years ago, they were trying to do a blowback ride where they only went one way with the wind at the back, and so they had to arrange for transportation. And so in those situations, yeah, that's been done.
Yeah, my OTEC ride, I have to limit it to 22 people. But I'm taking reservations to do that. So I'm doing that ahead of time. For a ride that you're posting on the calendar, you don't know who's going to show up. So
But we do need to move on, let Jeff do his.
I did have,
We had limitations on how many could fit in the vans we had, and I guess if there was enough interest, maybe we could add a third.
I did have one quick thought that I thought of. If you're a new ride leader, you might want to consider dropping back 1 star and riding a ride 1 star less than what you normally ride. It just gives you extra time while you're trying to lead that ride, figuring out new stuff, rather than trying to keep your normal pace. So, that's what I started at a 1 star. I normally ride a 2 star, and I find that helpful. So think about that if you're riding a new ride. Just try to do 1 ride at a lower star rating, just to be able to keep track of everybody and all the activities that you need to do. So
So